Hey, it's Jim with CGC Sports Illustrated. Another unboxing video. Finally getting into my cycle where I'm regularly getting new shipments from CGC, so the unboxing videos be a little bit more common. Just 4 slabs in this box here, but some really interesting ones. And then I've got 2 bonus slabs, and so I'll explain those and why they're bonus slabs that we can look at here in a minute. But let's dig into this box. If you haven't followed me on social media, you should do it. I'm on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and eBay, and there's a really good Facebook group. It's the same thing everywhere. Just search CGC Sports Illustrated on every platform. My podcast, download it wherever you get podcasts. Just search for CGC Sports Illustrated. Really interesting slabs. I can give you a little teaser. Not all Sports Illustrated. Got something kind of new that I've started getting into that I think is really interesting, and have one of those in this box. Okay, we definitely want to go back to front. Everybody knows the rules. I don't look at these in advance. I know exactly what these issues are, but I have no idea what the grades are, so we all look at it for the first time and get revealed here, and let's start. Oh, well, that's a problem. Okay, so if you guys don't know this is something I've kind of started getting into. These are Super Bowl and NFL championship game programs. And I may not be into them much longer. As you can see, that's not a 5. That is a 0.5. And, okay, so this is NFL championship before the Super Bowl, NFL championship game program from 1961. There's several of these graded. There's an 8.0 out there. I've already seen on the slab here, this is labeled as incomplete. So in my last video, I always try and give you guys my mistakes so that you don't make them yourself. And I believe it was my last unboxing video. I talked about how important it is to go through all the interior pages of your magazine before you send it in to be graded. Because that affects the grade. You know, if there's something cut out or there's pages missing, you're gonna get dinged for that. And I can see right here on the label, it says incomplete. So my guess is that there are pages missing or something in this. So I didn't even listen to my own advice that I gave you last time. So if you take anything away, listen to this advice now. You got to go through all your interior pages before you send your issues in, or else you end up getting a 0.5. 0.5. What a disaster. Oh, geez. Well, here's good news. It's all upwards from here. I mean, there's no way it can be worse than a 0.5. Am I right? All right. Next one up. Oh, baby! That's it. Right there, 9.2. Now, again, referencing back to the last unboxing video I just did, I had another copy of this issue that came in at a 9.0. So now I've upgraded this. If you don't recognize this is Michael Jordan's second ever Sports Illustrated cover. This is from the 1984 Olympics. It came out on July 23rd, 1984. There's a 9.6, there's a 9.4, and until today, there were 2 9.2s, now 3 9.2s with this one. I honestly thought, I thought this was more like a 9.0 or even an 8.5. So I'm blown away, and as most of us do, we usually overestimate what the grades end up being. So for me to have this exceed expectations is fantastic. I own this at a 7.5, and I own it at a 9.0, and now I own it at a 9.2. Man, that is tight and nice and good looking. Woo! All right, so that makes up for the incomplete program, NFL championship program from 1961 that I got at a 0.5. So just so you know, I've never gotten, I think the worst grade I've ever gotten is a 4.5. So I've never had an incomplete, and I've never had a 0.5. That stinks. But the Jordan makes up for it, so I'm happy. I really am. Okay, next one up. Oh, That's another huge, huge get. Mike Tyson's first Sports Illustrated cover, January 6, 1986. Now, if you follow me on social media, a couple days ago, I posted, friend of mine has this exact same issue in this exact same grade of 9.0. However, the reason why his is, kicking the crap out of mine, it's a signature series. I'm not going to do a deep dive into signature series, but that's CGC's autograph authentication series. Almost impossible to get. The standards for it are so much higher than JSA and Beckett and any of the other authenticators. Essentially, a CGC witness has to be present when it is signed. Go check out some of my podcasts that I've done in the last 6 months or so. I do a deep dive into how to manage autographs on it. But anyway, he's got this in a 9.0 signature series. But this 9.0 here, in a blue label, universal blue label, is a pop 1 of 1, none higher for the blue label. There's an 8.0, a 7.5, and some graded below that. So highest graded copy in the world of Mike Tyson's very first Sports Illustrated cover. Dude, Tyson was everything in the late 80s and 90s. He was everything. He was the baddest guy ever, even after he got beat by Buster Douglas in Japan. I mean, this is what we did. As I was, in my teenager years and early 20s and stuff, and so 20 guys would get together and we'd all throw in $5 or $10 and we'd, get the pay-per-view and we'd be up until 3 o'clock in the morning doing crazy, stupid stuff, waiting for Mike Tyson to come in and kick some guy's ass in 60 seconds. And that's what happened every single time. And it was totally worth it. I was in college when the famous Mike Tyson Evander Holyfield biting his ear off of. I was in college when the famous Tyson fight where the guy parachuted into the ring. Crazy. I mean, Tyson was huge for me growing up. And I have been looking for this cover for years and finally got my hands on it within the last month or two. I sent these in walkthrough because I knew these were all looking to be really big home runs and I couldn't wait. I wanted them back. I think I'm more excited about this than I am that Jordan Olympic cover at 9.2. 9.0, Mike Tyson, first cover, January 6th, 1986, pop 1 of 1, none higher. This is the only one in the world, none graded higher. I'm blown away. Blown away. All right. I got one more from the unboxing, and then we'll talk about the 2 bonus slabs that I got going over there. I was really nervous when I got that 0.5 on the incomplete. I was like, oh God, this is bad news. This box is going to be a disaster. Total opposite. I'll take an incomplete 0.5 grade in my box anytime if I can get the rest of the box looking like this. Last one from the box, and then we'll do the bonus ones, and I'll talk about that. But this is a big one. This is a big one. This is also a one that I've never owned before, and I've looked forever and ever and ever and finally found one. Yeah! 8.5 Magic Johnson first cover. So it's funny. That is exactly the grade I thought it would get. That Tyson, again, that Tyson at 9.0, I thought that was an 8.5. So surprised that 2 of these exceeded my expectations. Again, all of us, including me, tend to overestimate what the grades are going to come back on. So this is Magic Johnson. This is his first Sports Illustrated cover. It's from November 27th, 1978. Right there. First Irvin Magic Johnson cover. It's on the slab label. It now says that in the CGC census. It didn't have that on the labeling or the census until I sent this one in. Again, I've done another video about that, about how to submit your variants and first covers to CGC and what you need to do to get that information on the slab and on the census. It's on us. CGC graders are not going to do that. It's on us. It's on us, those of us in the hobby, to get that information on there. So again, Magic Johnson's first cover, November 27th, 1978. There is a 9.6. There is a 9.4, and there's a 9.0, and there's one 8.5. There's a 7.0, and there's several others out there that are graded below that. Shocking This issue is impossible to find. It's impossible to find. It's Magic frickin' Johnson. It's his first cover. 7 of these exist graded. That's it. This is why we love collecting Sports Illustrated newsstand issues. It's because they're so rare. There's only 7. Well, there were 7. Now there's 8. And this one's at an 8.5. I'm blown away. This is awesome. Awesome box. Home run all the way around. And that was a good one. Okay. I gotta collect my thoughts here. That was a great freaking box, man. The 0.5, who cares? Jordan Olympic cover 9.2. Mike Tyson first cover 9.0. Pop 101, none higher. Magic Johnson first cover 8.5. Okay, so a little bit of a story here. So CGC, if you've done anything, dealt with CGC, you know that they're going through a lot of growing pains, and I give them a ton of rope. Believe me, I know what it's like to run a business going through huge growth, and you're trying to manage it as best you can, but they've had some problems, and I ran into a problem with them. So I sent some submissions in over a year ago to be graded, pressed and graded. This is before I was pressing myself, so this is a long time ago when I sent them in, to be pressed and graded. Took forever, as everybody knows. 3 different submissions. They all came back. I recorded an unboxing video and I stopped it halfway through because I knew there was a problem. Even though I had ordered pressing and grading and paid for pressing and grading at CGC, none of the issues got pressed. Now I called CGC and talked to them, and their customer service was awesome, and they're gonna fix it, and I had to box them back up and send them in. I gotta wait a little bit and all that sort of stuff, but they're not gonna charge me for it, obviously, because I've already paid for it, but they're gonna fix it and they're gonna make it right. And so, good on CGC. Hey, I get it, you guys are going through a lot of growing pains, but their customer service was really, really good. But 2 of those issues, despite the fact that they weren't pressed, came back at a 9.8 anyway, and so there's no reason for me to send those back in to get pressed and graded because they were already at 9.8. So I hung on to them. So these were from that unboxing video that I stopped partway through because I knew there was a problem, and so I didn't want to miss showing them to you guys. So that's why we're going to take a look at them here. So this is a ton of fun. This is Cal Ripken. This is his retirement. Sports Illustrated presents. So there are the normal weekly Sports Illustrated issues that you can find, and they're listed in the CGC census. But if you want to find the special commemoratives, you have to search in CGC's census search for Sports Illustrated Presents. I've talked about this a lot before. Sports Illustrated Presents, to me, from what I'm seeing in the market, they just seem to be less collectible. And I guess that makes sense. They're listed separately in the census. They're not the weekly normal issues. They tend to be less collectible. Doesn't mean they're not collectible, just less collectible. But I've said this before too. Just about any issue, and I don't care what it is, any issue that's a 9.8 has a level of collectability. And that's because 9.8s are so hard to get, especially once you start going back 20, 30, 40 years. They're almost impossible to get. So I don't get a whole lot of Sports Illustrated Presents graded because they're not that collectible, but I do get some graded. And I get any issue graded that I think is, in my estimation, has a, 80, 90% chance of getting a 9.8. So that's why I got this one graded. This is, again, Cal Ripken. This is a pop 1 of 2, none higher. There's a bunch of these graded, but there's only 2. I'm sorry, let me take that back. Before today, there were only 2 9.8s. Now I believe there's 3. So a lot of fun and a 9.8. And I like that issue. And Cal's a Hall of Famer and an all-time great, and he's amazing. And so this is a fun issue there at 9.8. Here's the other one. And this one is really interesting. Now, that's LeBron James. A lot going on here. 9.8. By the way, 9.8, pop 1 of 1, none higher. LeBron James, Sports Illustrated. But what's going on here? Because you probably don't recognize this issue. So this is similar to Sports Illustrated Presents, like I just talked about. This is a copy of Sports Illustrated on Campus. So this was, again, a separate from the normal weekly Sports Illustrated. They created this separate product called Sports Illustrated on Campus. It was only around for like 2 years, like 2004, 2005, and that's about it. They were completely different than the normal weekly issues. I think they were produced monthly, although I don't know. But I think they were produced monthly, and they were distributed around college campuses. And they usually focused on college sports and that sort of stuff. Obviously, Sports Illustrated thought there was a market there. Obviously, it only lasted 2 years, so they weren't making much money off of it, and they shut it down. Most of those issues are not all that collectible, but there's a couple out there that, in my opinion, are really collectible. Specifically, the Ben Roethlisberger cover from when he was at Miami of Ohio. It predates his first Sports Illustrated cover that came out in 2006. And this LeBron James cover. Now, this one doesn't predate. This was from March 10th, 2005. So he had, I believe, 2 weekly Sports Illustrated covers, the normal ones, before this came out. But what's so cool about this one is he's wearing an Ohio State headband. And this is, the headline is "What If?" And it all talks about, what if he had gone to Ohio State? And what if he'd even played a year or 2 years at Ohio State? And what that would have done to the Ohio State basketball program and all that sort of stuff. I own several copies of this raw. I sent in one that I thought had a great chance of being a 9.8. It turned out to be a 9.8. I don't know how collectible these are. I think it's cool as can be. I mean, just LeBron wearing an Ohio State headband back from 2005 and the whole concept of what if he went to Ohio State as opposed to going straight to the NBA. I just thought that was really cool. And even more cool, it's a 9.8. That's it for today's unboxing video and 2 bonus slabs. I hope you guys enjoy these. I'm looking for ideas on my podcast and my other non-unboxing videos. So if you've got a topic you'd like me to cover or to talk about in a future podcast or a future video, please let me know, because I'm kind of running out of ideas. So DM me on social media, drop a comment on YouTube, whatever. Just reach out to me and give me an idea, and I'll probably end up incorporating it in a podcast or a video in the future. Thanks for watching.